Overwatch Apex Season 3, energized by Hot 6, Round Robin. Today's matchup, Africa Freaks Blue, X6 Gaming.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Overwatch Season 3. I am Atlas, joined by the lovely Achilleos.
Aww.
And we've got some massive matches today.
Yeah, we really do. Some very important ones here. Africa Freaks Blue, X6 Gaming, both teams that have picked up wins in their group, but still a lot of proving to be done. Their opponents in Kongdu Uncia for the side of X6, and then Runaway for Africa Freaks Blue, not putting up very strong opposition.
Yeah.
So we still don't really know exactly where these teams lie and how they're going to fare once they make it out into the round of 8, if that's what it comes down to. Seems like these might just be the two that make it out, unless some big turnarounds come through from the side of Kongdu Uncia, especially, who has been the Kongdu sister team that makes it through to the playoffs, to the round of 8. Historically, hasn't really looked strong in that first set.
Yeah, and the rosters, of course, have been switched up between the Kongdu teams as well.
Yes.
Panthera looking like the stronger one now, having just been given the better players, honestly, after Season 2. So we'll see exactly what is going to happen today, because X6 looked strong coming out of the gate, but it's still a challenger team. You never really know where they're going to stack up, and we're going to find out now who's going to be the top of Group B.
Yeah, and I mean, the big excitement for X6 getting ready to come into this tournament was that maybe we have another Meta Athena on our hands. They dominated the challenger season. They're coming into the promotion tournament, won their way through with relative ease, just picking up 2 swift victories, getting into Apex for Season 3, but we haven't seen that same level of surprise and ingenuity that we came to expect from Meta Athena. So it seems like they're not really living up to that hype. They still do look like a strong team, but they're playing very reservedly. Triple DPS, 2-2-2 comms coming through. We're not seeing so much of the the triple DPS from these guys.
Yeah.
Quad DPS, something that we actually just saw from one of the other newly qualified teams in Rhinos Gaming Wings just the other day. So I don't know if we're going to see too much of that.
I feel like that might
forward.
be going a little bit too far,
Yeah,
like quad DPS with a Torbjorn is an odd one.
That Volskaya was really weird overall from Rhinos Gaming Wings. I mean,
successful.
It was a pleasure to watch it.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we're going to be seeing much more of that. But if there's any team in this tournament that could bring that to the table, it's going to be Rogue, who's playing in our second set versus Kongdu Panthera. So we already talked about them. Revitalized roster. It seems like Kongdu kind of want to put all their eggs into one basket with this roster coming in, shifting Birdring over to play alongside Rascal. Had a fantastic start to the split. And then they got reverse swept. Go up 2 maps against Lunatic High. Look like they're going to take the set with relative ease. Reverse sweep comes through. Really rough stuff. We're going to go ahead and get caught up on the groups at the moment. Rogue will be playing in our second set, currently dominating the group with that +2 victory coming through for them, as Lunatic High was taken all the way to 5 games. So that puts them just a point ahead there.
Yeah.
But still, it's going to be very tight-knit. Kongdu Panthera, especially coming into this second match today, need a victory, because if they don't find one, they're going to be relying on Lunatic High to lose to Mighty AOD to keep their hopes of making it into the round of 8 alive.
Yeah, and if we look over at Group B as well, you can see Africa Freaks Blue up by 1 point over X6. So X6, if they are going to win this, they probably want to do it in a pretty decided fashion to try and get themselves as far into that first position as possible. Of course, C and D will be on Tuesday next week.
Yeah, we'll get some more looks at those guys.
Yeah, see how that's going to shake up as well.
I mean, surprisingly, take a look at Group C. MVP Space topping out that group might be a bit surprising, considering the last time that they were in Apex, they didn't pick up a single win. They were 0-9. The only other team to do that was Mighty Storm, who completely collapsed and crumbled because of internal problems. So MVP Space having a very strong start against the likes of Flash Lux, so that does set Flash Lux back very heavily. And given the rest of the teams in the group and how cohesively MVP Space has played after their shuffles, we might just see Flash Lux going yet again into the promotion tournament for a 3rd time when we get ready for another season of Apex. But for now, it's these
They're getting used
to
it now, Achilles.
They really are. Somebody asked me, I had an interview with Esports 7 the other day, and they said, if you could compare an Overwatch team to a League of Legends team, who would it be?
No,
I said it was going to be Flash Lux compared to Kongdu Monster, because they just bounce in and out of Challenger and into the League. So that is something it's very close.
We could just call them like flash yo-yos or something like that from now on.
Yeah, kind of.
They just seem to bounce in and out, but that's okay. Of course, today's matchup, we have gone over it. We're going to be starting with a Freak Freaks Blue versus X6, and then Kongdu Panthera versus Rogue. And we'll see whether the hype around Rogue is going to be proven in our second match, because there were some worrying signs in their first best of 5.
That's putting it a little bit lightly, I think. I mean, dropping one of the rounds on the first map there over to the side of Mighty AOD, that was a little bit questionable. But it's whatever. This King of the Hill style, that's okay. You drop the one round. Then it gets down to the 2-point capture, and it looked absolutely abysmal from the side of Rogue. And they did go ahead. They spoke quite frankly, giving their post-game interview saying, we haven't really practiced this. They haven't had to play it in North America because none of the teams in North America really like playing 2-point capture.
Yeah.
So it's not something that they have to particularly scrim very much on. But when you get to Apex here, when it is a required map type that you have to play, you have to have further preparation for that. So didn't really get enough practice in before the matches had started for them, but they've had that week, they've had that time to just go ahead and basically grind out on those 2-point capture maps and get prepared for that.
Yeah, now they have to do it against a very desperate Kongdu Panthera as well, because this is the group of death. This is the group that it's going to be incredibly lucky for these incredibly strong teams to get out of, because only 2 of them are going to make it through. And if Kongdu Panthera can't actually take this one down, then they're relying on what? Mighty AOD to win against Lunatic High in order to get themselves through?
Yeah.
That sounds like a bit of a tall order. Because
it's not a position that you want to be in.
No.
I mean, it's kind of the position that we saw, I believe, Misfits last year, earlier in the year in Season 2, needed another team to find a win, a specific win, so that they could make it in. Couldn't be a 3-2, had to be a 3-1, 3-0, or else they couldn't progress forward.
Yeah.
Didn't happen. So Kongdu Panthera, they want to avoid that at all costs. Again, they had a very strong showing in that first half of their set against Lunatic High, so they still are a top contender. They could give Rogue a run for their money, but even with the 2-point capture, I feel like Rogue might come into this being favored a little bit more.
Yeah, and we also know that Rogue has been practicing that 2-point capture as well, especially over the last week.
Yeah, got to talk to the team in the back room, prior to the match, and said, how much have you guys been investing in this? They said, that's been our biggest focus in our scrims moving forward into this set. And I said, okay, that's great to hear. I hope it's going to be a fantastic set, and if you guys lose, I completely blame Internet Hulk. So the pressure is on him. So,
that is honestly
you can all tweet at him if they lose, and you can just fully blame him.
I really hope that he's watching.
He is going to hate me for this later.
Yeah, well, look, maybe he's not actually watching. You won't even notice, and you guys just make sure you don't say that it was Achilleos that sent you to his Twitter.
Yeah, it was all independent thought that you guys came up with.
Exactly right. And if he's inundated with thousands of tweets, then that sounds absolutely perfect. But let's bring it back to our first matchup. Of course, Freak Freaks Blue versus X6. Let's hear from the teams.
바로 X6 게이밍이 16강 첫 경기에서 사고를 칩니다.
한 끗 차이로 그냥 이긴 것 같아요. 챌린저스보다는 그러니까 한 라운드 딸 때마다 되게 달라요. 이게 그냥 이겼을 때 와 하는 게 진짜 엄청 짜릿해요. 1부는.
아프리카 프린스 블루는 너무 잘해요. 이보다 더 완벽할 수가 없습니다.
힐러진들이 좀 더 탄탄해져서 경기가 쉽게 흘러갈 수 있었어요. 3대0으로 이겨서 기분이 매우 좋아요.
챌린저스 2부 리그의 왕, 이 상승세가 현재 16강 에이펙스에서도 이어지고 있습니다.
X6 경기하는 거는 많이 찾아봤어요. 챌린저스를 이제 1등으로 올라오긴 했는데 전 시즌에 메타 아테나처럼 강력해 보이진 않아요. 관전 포인트는 제 트레이서랑 타임보이 선수의 트레이서가 아닐까 생각해요.
동현 선수의 트레이서는 그렇게 무섭지 않습니다. 근데 아마 우리 상대로 트레이서를 꺼내면 타임보이가 이기지 않을까. 3대1이나 3대2 정도로 갈 것 같습니다.
저희가 3위죠. 최호민 선수가 약점이 되지 않을까. 영웅 포기를 좀 더 늘려야 되지 않을까 생각하고 있어요.
최선의 픽을 하는 게 그 카운터라고 생각해요. 동현 선수의 존재감을 지워버리겠습니다.
저희가 이번에 팀에서 각을 잡고 다이어트를 하는데 덕 좀 보고 있어요. 다이어트 꼭 성공해서 날렵해진 플레이 꼭 보여드리도록 하겠습니다.
솔직히 말하면 되나요? 힘들 것 같아요.
Some serious shade being thrown around by both of these teams.
Yeah, just a little bit coming out there. But I mean, Freakin' Freaks Blue right there actually demonstrating, the comparison that we had for X6 coming into this. Everyone was saying this is going to be the next Meta Athena. But he says, not as strong as Meta Athena. And, I mean, that would be impressive, you'd have to say. It was very shocking how far Meta Athena made it into Season 2, almost making it to the Grand Final. But X6 still have a lot to deliver on, as do a Freakin' Freaks. Again, their first matches, their opponents were very weak, which was surprising.
Yeah, it was a hamstringed opponent for both of these
It was
teams.
very surprising in the sense of a Freak of Freaks' win, given how poorly Runaway had played that series, losing to a 3-0. Then Stark Kaiser had Mirage in the mix, swapped them out before the last map, and still didn't seem like they were all there.
Yeah.
So still a lot to be proven, but this is going to be, I feel, the decider match for that first place spot moving forward in this group. Freak of Freaks currently in possession of it, but I think that if they go ahead, knock down X6, they should be moving on to the round of 8.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be important to look at the DPS players for both of these teams as well, because Ahan's really been stepping up this season. He was a little bit overly aggressive season 2, maybe a little bit of a detriment to his team, but has since been playing very, very well. Recry, of course, was fantastic season 2, sort of like the notable player over Freak of Freaks Blue. And if we look over the other side, I mean, Timeboy, almost synonymous with Tracer at the moment.
Yeah.
And Godsby, like, he's been picking up the Widow again, like, doing some fun stuff, and we'll see what they're going to be able to do to mix things up on the sides of X6, because they need to show some flexibility. No more of this triple tank 2-2-2 stuff. We need the triple DPS. We need the quad DPS, Kilios.
I'm like I said, I don't think it's going to happen, but I would be damn excited if it were to occur. But God knows what these guys have waiting for us. But for the meantime, Freak of Freaks Blue looking a bit back on form, more so to their Season 1 selves where they made it to the grand final. Maybe not with the 0-4 loss that they suffered at the hands of Envious, but still looking very strong with the addition of their new supports. Lucid coming over from Kongdu and see IDK coming in onto the team. Seems like they're really there. They're able to enable the likes of Arhan and Recry on the DPS. Make sure that they're safe, topped off where they can dive into the backside on the likes of the Genji and the Tracer.
Yeah, exactly right. Mano, of course, switching from support to tank as well to make room for these 2 new supports. And, Lucid, a lot of hype about this guy, and IDK, we'll see whether he's going to continue to impress. Because he's a rookie, man. Like, you never really know what to expect from these guys. But looking at X6...
A bunch of rookies as well.
Exactly. So, I mean, I feel like IDK is going to be a little bit more comfortable now. Plus, he's on Lucio duty. It's totally fine.
Yeah, I think once you get that first map out of the way, that first match rather out of the way, especially taking down the likes of Runaway, that's going to instill quite a bit of confidence for you. So IDK should be coming into this with a great mental state. X6, on the other hand, we'll see how these guys fare. Still only going to be one of their first few showings on LAN, Challenger Tournament technically on LAN, but the audience not going to be as large, as packed in as we see for Apex here. So only have one map under their belts. We'll see how they fare coming into their second one. And we'll go ahead and get a look at the most pick from the players.
Yeah, of course. Recry there, you can see.
It's mostly going to be the Soldier.
For the second, but he's definitely been playing a heck of a Soldier. He's basically just a Soldier player.
Yeah, Soldier's going to be the big one. We've actually seen a bit of resurgence for the Soldier coming back into the meta with these triple DPS compositions.
Yeah.
So it's usually going to be the Tracer, the Genji coming in for that dive potential, and you have a Soldier to offer up some nice mid-range damage. So expect to see Recry sticking to that one quite a bit as we move forward into the series. But Timeboy, he has flexed over to this Roadhog, but it really has all been about the Tracer for him.
Yeah,
A very
it's
fitting
like,
name.
make sure you understand that is like 95% Tracer, 5% everything else.
It's very much stacked up on that Tracer, which is why X6 have so much confidence in him. They say if it goes down to the Tracer battle, Timeboy will come out on top of that one. But Hyobin, really been all about the Diva for him. We'll see how he can fare today. We did see him change things up a little bit in their set, going over to the Genji, actually having a pretty good showing on that one. But overall, he really has been kind of relegated into playing nothing but the Diva. And it's a bit inconsistent, getting popped out of the mech very frequently, not really coming up with those massive self-destructs like we've seen from the upper echelon of Diva players here in the league.
Yeah, exactly. Well, as we look at the supports, cute little Torbjorn there for IDK, but he will most likely just be playing Lucio for the majority of this series. And I like this sort of switch up between Lucid and BB as well, with the Ana being second in priority for Freak of Freaks Blue, and then X6 sticking to more of that, the Mercy for the secondary options, and Yada really playing a solid secondary role to that Lucio in the current meta.
Yeah. But also the Torbjorn, something that's becoming more and more popular, solid in the matches. Just the other day from Rhinos Gaming Wings, again on Volskaya, which was one of the most interesting sets I've seen, as he ran that the entire duration of the set to find a victory. But here we go, first battleground of the day, going to start things out on Oasis.
Yeah, Oasis going to be our control map. See who's going to be able to take this one, because both of these teams actually have very good win rates on control maps. So as far as getting that first game momentum, both probably feeling rather confident. It's going to tell us a lot about the series, actually, on the opening map choice.
See how they fare. Haven't seen too much here from X6. And a 2-1 victory on Lijiang over top of the likes of Kongdu Uncia. So maybe not as practiced on these King of the Hill maps as the likes of the Freak of Freaks Blue, who did find that 2-0 on Ilios.
Yeah.
Oasis, completely different set of maps, very unique here. You know, the likes of the jump pad as you move on to City Center. So there's a lot to play with, a lot of different avenues of approach for this set.
Well, we'll see exactly how it goes. It's X6 Gaming and Freak of Freaks Blue. Let's get into game number 1. Getting it together. What a beautiful story.
Always a good day when we get it. Decent showing there for the side of X6. Always good to see for these newer teams coming in. Of course, the Challenger Series, very readily available here in Korea for people to watch on television and online in Korean. Fortunately, no English broadcast of that yet, but maybe fingers crossed for the future.
Yep, exactly right. I'm certainly hanging out for it. Oasis is beautiful. Kilios, I'm a big fan.
It is.
And Ahan's playing with our hearts yet again. He just loves doing this, man. I swear he hovers Orisa every single time we see him.
I mean, we had seen it the one time
Yes, it's true.
on Nepal, but since then, it has been eluding us. Go ahead, take a look as these...
We also saw the Orisa once on Hollywood as well, using that sort of Western defense strat, which was a cute one.
You're right. I forgot. There's so few and far in between.
It didn't quite work, so I could understand why you'd forget that one, Akira, so I'm definitely not going to be judging you on that one.
Well, opening things up here. X6 going to be running that pharmacy comp. Godspeed takes to the skies with the Pharaoh. Bebe trying to back him up. He goes really low, though, as Arhan's just trying to poke out from the low ground.
Yeah, Jobin as well, getting right in amongst it, losing a whole bunch of his health. No Smite as well. The front line really taking a beating on the side of X6 as both of these teams looking for that first cap. He's going to be taken here by the looks of things by X6, as that's a good snipe onto Recry there from Godspeed.
Yeah, they get rid of him, but then Godspeed goes down immediately afterward, and Bebe gets taken out. So just dismantling that pharmacy comp from the ground up into the sky, and Freak of Freaks already posturing forward. Should get this first cap coming through. It's going to be a bit of a delay there from Hyobin, and the likes of No Smite sitting on the point pulse bomb from Donghyun. Not going to find anything as they just dash around, but they'll clean him up and they'll get that cap coming through very swiftly here for the side of a Freak of Freaks.
Yeah, so good control from a Freak of Freaks after what was honestly pretty skirmishy, pretty messy at the beginning. Pulling it all back together, getting those jitters out of the way.
Yeah, but very much going in the favor of a Freak of Freaks Blue. I mean, Arhan getting that first pick off on the No Smite helps him build up that Dragon Blade. It's already going to be at about 80% onto that one. And taking out Bebe means that Resurrect is not going to be nearby, nor is the Barrage for Godspeed, who's currently sitting at about 60%. Typically, we'd see this closer to 80, 85 from these Pharaohs, but getting picked off that early just really throws a wrench in the plans for X6. Now, not only do they not have that Barrage ready, but they have to look for a very perfect setup in order to maximize the DPS output from it.
Yeah, this is actually going really, really well. Recry does have that ultimate ready. Ahan as well.
Res comes down.
Yeah, and we've got the Dragon Blade coming out as well. Ahan looking to try and get some pickoffs here as X6 are getting torn apart. They really can't make their way back onto this point.
Yeah, they're trying to sit in here, but everybody's just going to get picked off one after the other. No Smite looks like he might have left himself out to safety. Still inside.
Oh my god.
It's just wrapping around the other side of the guard, and he gets taken out right on the end. So a decent stagger coming through from him. And a Freak of Freaks Blue maintaining control over this. Already 60%, getting ready to come through for these guys. They did invest a little bit there. Dragon Blade, as well as that Tac Visor, both DPS cooldowns being used, but they still have a sound barrier that could buy them plenty of time.
Yeah, X6 now with 4 ultimates almost at the ready though, so if that was an eco push they were going for last time around, it certainly was successful as Pulse Bomb, Primal Rage, as well as that Self-Destruct and the Rocket Barrage are available as there's the sound barrier. Can a Freak of Freaks Blue hold this one off because none of these buttons have been pressed apart from Time Boy's Pulse Bomb. There goes the Self-Destruct, just trying to buy some space here for X6, but it just doesn't seem to be enough. Finally able to grab a couple of kills as they just throw all of their ultimates into the mix, but is it going to be enough here as the Dragon Blade has come out from Ahan?
He's just dashing through, gets rid of Gilly, but actually this is going to be good trading back here from the side of X6. Like you said, they did have that ult economy coming into this one, but the swap has not come through yet. A lot of delay being bought from the side of a Freak of Freaks. The switch finally hits, but 97%. A Freak of Freaks, if they get the retake, they almost certainly get the map. X6 have to hold this all the way to 100%.
Yeah, and without these ultimates anymore as well, you can see those numbers relatively low. They will have the res. as well as the pulse bomb coming in from Timeboy, but see whether that is going to be enough as they're setting up a decent position. Ahan just trying to play off to the side.
I mean,
Really wants to get rid of this Mercy.
The problem here is that X6 haven't been able to win the fights unless they have the ultimate. So even if Bebe gets a massive resurrection off, they won't have ultimates to utilize. But speaking of that, it's going to be Arhan drawing out the Dragon Blade.
Yeah, he's so good at building up this ultimate, but can't quite find the kills. Needs to get another dash, but really good play from Gilly there. Gets himself out of the way.
He gets himself out of the way, but he has to go ahead and leave the point for an extended period of time. Finally drops the sound barrier. Does help keep them alive as they pick up 3 kills. So
Yeah, thankfully got back in time there as well in order to get that ultimate down onto every member of his team. Mono now really struggling. He's going to fall down.
That was the cap, though, so now it's into overtime. So Freak of Freaks, they build back up to 99%, as X6 will go ahead and retake it quickly, but still at 33, so a very long way to go. A couple more ultimates. The res not used by Bebe, and the self-destruct ready to go from Hyobin, so can use that as a bit of a zoning tool. If not, try to find a couple picks with it.
Rick again just trying to snipe things out. BB is his target. It's getting a little bit difficult though, as Ahan, you can see all the way in amongst it already. And here it is, the tack visor coming out, sound barrier there as well. Freak of Freaks really want to take this point back as the, oh my god, self-destruct from Hyobin is just going to deny everything. The res comes out, but is it going to be enough here as Godspeed throws down the ult? He's looking for some kills, but everyone just ducks under cover.
Timeboy gets IDK though with that pulse bomb, but yeah, I mean, really bizarre, just not paying attention at all to that self-destruct. Recry pushes in, goes down. And what few kills Freak of Freaks Blue were able to pick up just gets negated by the resurrection coming through from Bebe.
Yeah.
So a bit intriguing. Godspeed not really with the proper angle for the barrage to find much. Everybody able to just go ahead, bounce back into the hallways and keep themselves safe, but they still maintain control, and now they're ticking up. They're looking for an overtime of their own, as it's about to be 90%.
Yeah, hitting up to that 90%. Got Transcendence there available as well for Freaker if they want to try and get their way in, but otherwise not too many on the ultimate front. As Ahan does get a Dragon Blade once again. Now going to throw it down immediately, actually, as Transcendence was also used. This is the last-ditch effort now as we go into overtime. Ahan looking for this one. Timeboy was able to, Donghyun was able to grab a kill onto BB, so this is important. The supports are now down, and a Freak of Freaks looking like they might be able to grab this one back. Last-ditch effort with the Primal Rage, but No Smite's probably just going to go down.
It's going to be decent delay tactics. So as Timeboy gets ready to sprint his way back in. We'll see how long he can hold this. The recall already coming through, trying to keep himself safe. He gets taken out. Recap will come through for a Freak of Freaks in their favor. Can anyone contest this? The answer is going to be no. So Gardens going over to a Freak of Freaks. Strong start, a little bit wonky in between.
Yeah.
X6 showing some signs of life. As they answer back, run the meter all the way up to 100%. Seemed very unlikely to occur, but a decent fire back from them, but unfortunately they don't find the win.
I was actually very impressed by X6. I thought that this might be a little bit more one-sided in the favor of a Freak of Freaks Blue, just given their pedigree, the fact that this team has been together for so much longer. However, X6 were able to fight. We'll see whether they can do it in the next map as well, because it's going to be really, really important. Getting this momentum, building it up for hybrid map to follow.
I'd be very surprised if they stuck with something like the Pharmacy. You could already see it's going to be.
Well, X6 has
traded
been
off here.
outspoken about not liking Pharah just in general, so
Godspeed was probably the least impactful player, I'd have to say. You know, getting a couple kills with the barrages. I mean, you know, constantly raining down some damage is always nice, but at the same time, you have to think that that also just translates more damage over for the Freak of Freaks supports to just go ahead and build up their ultimates quicker. So just didn't have that massive impact like we expect from on that Pharah, so he will be trading off, goes over to the Genji. So he'll be looking to out-trade Arhan. See if he can build up the Dragon Blades nearly as quickly as Arhan was there on Garden.
yeah, this is cute from a Freak of Freaks Blue though, the triple DPS with the Sombra. Of course, everyone loves it on this particular map.
There we go.
Godspeed is going to fall down to Ahan. Gets a nice dash kill.
Yeah, just cutting straight through him. Timeboy goes down as well, so both the big DPS from the side of X6 can take it out, and this should just be a very swift take for the side of Freak of Freaks, who are running. You know, this
Freakcry's looking good on this Sombra
exactly.
as well.
He's running the Sombras that we saw popularized by Twilight during the promotion tournament into Season 3 here.
And we've seen a lot of teams start doing this as well as, man, he's just so good at finding those cheeky little shots to build up this ult charge for his Dragon Blade. That'll be up relatively soon.
See that he's already forced a swap out of Godspeed. He feels like he needs to go over to this McCree, so if Arhan dashes in, he can just try to bait out the deflection, get the flashbang down, headshot him to get the kill. But if he can't land the hits, it's just not going to happen. You see already taken out.
Which, exactly, Mono just going to zap him to death. Ahan's going to follow that one up as Baby falls. And it's looking like X6 are just collapsing here to the power of a Freak of Freaks, who have got 3 ultimates available now. Ahan doesn't even need to use his as he dashes back onto the point.
I mean, it's just an absolute slaughter at the moment. They're going to have more coming through. About to be 5. As you can see, Mono going to have that Primal Rage, and the Transcendence is up for Lucid.
Yeah.
So it's going to be really tough times. And X6, they just keep swapping through. Time Boy going over to this Roadhog yet again, going to try to open up with a pick. If he can lock down the likes of Recry, deny that EMP from coming through, that'll be huge.
Yeah,
but he needs to have that performance, so we haven't seen from him yet. Here comes Recry right around the sidelines.
Yeah, EMP's going to go down there as well, as there's 2 kills already here for a Freak of Freaks Blue. Recry, you can see he's just dancing around this fight, and everyone seems to be able to just stay on this point. It's a good sound barrier from X6, but I don't think it's going to buy them enough. Transcendence was there as well from Lucid, but they're holding onto the ultimates that they don't need to use. A Freak of Freaks Blue, look at this. They've got 4 ticks ready to go. They just don't seem to need them.
Yeah, they invest 2 ultimates for that one, the Transcendence and then the EMP. The EMP will be built up very swiftly from the likes of Recry. We know,
it barely even matters.
We know how quickly
EMP's up
you can
so
get that
quickly,
back.
exactly.
So he'll have that again, and then they use the Transcendence for Lucid, but there's going to be the sound barrier available for Mighty K, who actually drops it right now.
Yeah, Ahan's going to throw out his ultimate there as well, in tandem, just to make sure that they can stay alive for this one, but they don't really need to worry about it too much. This Demon Mech's going to fall down, and Urban is going to follow very, very quickly, and now it's honestly just Gilly trying to buy time on this point as we've gone into the overtime. Not going to last very long, though, as Ahan's just going to put his elbow into him.
He has to drop down off the wall, and then that's No Smite leaping in with the Primal Rage, but still goes low and gets taken out. So, can they tag somebody in? The answer is going to be no. The Freak of Freaks, 2-0.
Yeah, Swift 2-0 there on control. We're asking this question, but it's really looking like a Freak of Freaks Blue coming out super strong against X6. Somewhat to be expected, of course. You know, you've got a challenger team against a well-established team that's been in the last 2 seasons of Apex as well. But we did have some question marks after the first series of how good a Freak of Freaks Blue were. Well, that is certainly a statement match to start things off.
I mean, that's a really good way to start it off, as you say, but it's going to be about these next couple maps coming in. How are they going to manage on Hybrid, then 2-point capture? If this is a 3-0 for a Freak of Freaks Blue, I think they are just very clear-cut the best team in this group over the likes of Runaway and Kongdu Uncia, who had those very wavering performances. So it seems like Afrika, with a very swift victory here in this first match, would set themselves up to go ahead, exit into the round of 8, and then go up against the strongest from those other groups. So looking good so far. Arhan having a very nice performance there on that Genji, but you really have to give it up to Recry. Is constantly harassing with that Sombra. The EMP, you know, we only saw 1 or 2 EMPs get dropped there on that map because they didn't need it.
Exactly, they barely needed any of their ultimates, but making sure that they kept that economy up was good, as we are going to move over to Hollywood for our hybrid map. Okay, now, Hollywood's a fantastic one because I do like the first point for having these interesting compositions. You know, we've seen all sorts of different picks come out for this, and what's going to happen is still a question mark. X6, can they actually try to stay a little bit more flexible with these compositions? Because we didn't see anything new. It was like a lot of 2-2-2 coming out of these guys in the first one.
I think they need to be. I think they need to be more flexible. They need to try to, you know, match this triple DPS coming through from the side of a Freak of Freaks. But Hollywood, like you say, interesting picks can come out here. This is where we can see the likes of the Torbjorn starting things off on the defense at point A. So maybe we see that come out. We'll see who's going to be starting. Likely going to be a Freak of Freaks Blue. We'll see if they want to change anything up.
Yeah, well, see whether they do. Let's hop into game number 2.
Oh, we don't get it. That's a little bit depressing.
It's the first time we haven't got it.
That actually might be the first time we haven't gotten it this season.
Yeah, it is. Oh,
well,
Kilios, I'm really glad that I'm here with a friend, you know, where we're not getting it. I mean, it's all just going to be a mess now.
There's a first time for everything, you know.
Yeah.
So
remember, guys, if you don't get it, then it's totally fine. I mean, it happens to the best of us.
Yeah, I'm sure the chat right now is exploding, just being upset. Feels bad, man, thrown in there.
Yes, indeed.
Because we didn't get it, so unfortunate. But for now, yeah, Freak of Freaks Blue going to be starting things off over on the defense. And interestingly enough, we're going to be seeing
this composition. They've done it. It's exactly the one that we were talking about just before Helios.
Yeah, the Torbjorn coming through. Mono, for a second there, was hovering over the Reinhardt. Does swap back over onto the Winston, which, I mean, I don't mind the Reinhardt. There is that big choke point next to security, just, main archway that you can really use that Reinhardt shield to, hold forward, just posture very far forward aggressively, but seems like they have other ideas. Lucid as well, not going to be flexing over onto the likes of that Sombra will be coming back in with the Ana. They said, you know what, we need a healer.
Yeah, one of them would be great.
Like, Recry is just going to off-heal with his E. But Arhan, he's sticking through. The DPS player on the Orisa. My body is ready, Atlas.
He's doing it, ready to put down that shield for the turret. Help this Torbjorn out.
And no, we don't need no Reinhardt. We have Orisa.
Yeah, exactly right.
So they're ready to go, but already X6 starting to push forward.
Yeah, and look at this aggressive turret positioning as well, knowing that the Orisa is there to help save it. Throwing down the barrier right now, you can see this dive going to be enough, because Orisa does a lot of damage. As you can see, that mech is just torn up.
Yeah, massive clip that can come out, and it's pretty accurate on the spray as well. So Arhan with his tracking should have a pretty fun time, unlike No Smite, who is just getting killed inside of his own bubble.
Really nice Helix rocket there to take down Shoyobin. And Freaks Blue have most certainly staved off X6. And will they change things up in response to this interesting composition? It's just so many bullets, Kilios.
It is a lot. It's like a stupid amount of bullets. It's more bullets than you would need.
Well, we'll see whether they're going to be utilizing the Halt there as well. I mean, now that we have been seeing less and less Zarya, so they're having a mini Graviton pulse is kind of cool.
Just drag him to the side, but you can see X6, they change up a little bit here with Timeboy coming back over onto the Roadhog, but again, this is going to be triple tank coming through from them, so not opting in for the multiple DPS.
No, this is what they do a whole lot of the time. Hybrid has been sort of triple tank for X6 almost every single time that we see them. His attack visor already built up here by Recry, and he's still just doing so much damage. Yeah, can have that nano visor if we want it, as there's even shields available for everyone, as well as his Torbjorn's been getting a lot of work done, but has lost his turret now as X6 starting to fight back. But look at this, they haven't been able to really get the kills that are important.
No, they can't. They jump onto this high ground, but they're just a shooting gallery for Recry to just fire away, so gets rid of No Smite. Timeboy goes down, leaves just Yobin there as the only one on the tank, so X6, they can't poke in for anything else, just have to go ahead and peel back yet again. And IDK, he loses the turret once, but he's going to have it back up and now has the Molten Core ready to go.
Yeah, this looks like practice range for Recry right now. This guy is just not really getting harassed. You can see finally Godsby gets a couple of bullets over the top of him, but no worries there at all. It's a Freaks Blue with 4 ultimates available, and importantly, they do have that Molten Core, which is just so difficult to get through, especially with the protection that this turret has. They do make their way onto the point. And there it is, the Molten Core goes down, and this Torbjorn's really going to be cutting through these guys, buying so much time for a Freaks Blue. There's attack visor as well. There's even a kill with the self-destruct out of the Freaks Blue.
Yeah, double nano visor coming through, but X6 don't win out on the fight, and Gilly actually gets picked off right at the end. So a decent stagger coming through onto that Lucio, and a Freaks. They're just going to be looking for the full hold on this one. They do use quite a bit of their ultimate primal range on both sides available, but a much faster nano boost going to be up for the side of Afrika, as Lucid is currently sitting at 85%.
Oh my goodness.
So they are poised to just hold this one out.
See now X6 going for this last-ditch effort. They may get another push through as the turret is taken out first up. That is definitely very important, but still, there are ultimates aplenty. We've got the pulse. Sorry, the nano that does come out. They just throw it straight on top of Mano. The self-destruct comes in, actually picks up 2 kills on the side of X6. And is this going to be the point as Arhan? He's going to get taken out, and finally, X6 Gaming will claim this first point.
We have the first tick so far. We'll see how much Afrika really want to invest into delaying this one. The primal range is still there for Mono, has not popped it. So they might try to retake this one, because honestly, they very well could do it.
They made it back onto the point.
Well, now they're starting to peel back. They're going up into the high ground. But it looks like they do want to commit in for this.
Yeah, we've only got 10 seconds to go here as well, so X6 Gaming well and truly on the ropes. Arhan has picked up a kill already with a switch over to Tracer. Mano as well. BB's dead. I mean, there's just not a lot of support as Recry just turns up with the tack visor in the nick of time. Yeah. Oh, he gets jumped on.
Couldn't get through the barrier, so he does go down, but still, this is going to be a Freak of Freaks that complete essentially that team-wide coming through.
It looked like X6 was going to be able to grab that first point, but just not enough of a stagger. and weren't able to hold their ground against a Freak of Freaks.
I mean, the big victory there was actually in Mono, being able to hold on to that Primal Rage for the longest time. Then Nano Boost coming out helps keep him alive. He doesn't need to pop the Primal Rage in desperation, holds on to it. Then you get Donghyun coming back in on the D.Va, and it's enough between those two tanks to delay long enough for the rest of the team to pile in. And X6, you know, they have limited DPS options. It's really just the Soldier coming through from Godspeed. Time Boy going over to this Roadhog. He's unable to land these hooks. You've got a barrier from the Winston. You've got the barrier coming out from that Orisa, just constantly blocking these hooks. He can't get on the high ground because you have, you know, the likes of Lucid just cheating around the corners, making sure that he doesn't get dragged down to the low ground for the Roadhog to pop him with one shot, and they just suffer for it. X6, they're not showing flexibility with their setups.
Not. And not understanding the meta here as well. As a Freak of Freaks, you can see going for that triple DPS, and X6 back to the triple tank once again with just Godsby on the Soldier.
I mean, now they just want to just try to have as much HP on the point as possible to hold this. They need basically to stop a Freak of Freaks from getting anything on this point. They need to push it to about 55-ish%.
Yep.
So not a whole lot of time needs to be spent here for a Freak of Freaks to pick up another win and just take us to match point.
Well, adorably, IDK is just going to hover some Torbjorn for us here as well, which is very exciting. Hops back over to Lucio now. And we'll see. Well, I mean, it's sort of the classic dive comp here for Afrika, so if they can get enough into the big beefy front line of X6 and then take them down, I mean, it's just, we've seen this work so many times. It's why this composition is so popular.
Alright, well, X6, if they lose one tank right off the bat of this, this could very well just be a Freak of Freaks picking up a victory in about 2 minutes' time.
Yeah, and it's only the 2-point capture that separates a Freak of Freaks Blue from a 3-0. Oh, now Godsby already picking up a kill, though. Ahan's going to respond as both Lucios are dead. Very aggressive positioning here by X6 on the defense.
They actually get the pickoffs here onto the likes of Mono and Arhan, so they do take them out. Lose the likes of No Smite, but
oh, nice shots.
Still actually a nice little turn up here for X6 on that first push coming through for a Freak of Freaks.
Yeah, Godsby actually playing pretty clutch here at the beginning, but plenty of time for regroup on the side of Freak of Freaks Blue. They just want to be building up these ultimates. Ahan, the Magician himself, already up to about 74% on this Dragon Blade. Haven't seen many guys that can build up that ultimate as quickly as this.
I mean, right now we can kind of just expect the Freak to poke in. If they see a big opening, they get a big pick, they will just fully commit in. But having the Transcendence up to go with the Dragon Blade would be very nice for them. But already he's going to go ahead and draw it out.
Yeah, Dragon Blade comes out and Godsby's going to be the first one to fall. That is so much of the DPS dead. He does get taken down as No Smite just smacks him with the hammer. But Donghyun's still here. They've still got so much DPS available on the side of the Freak Freaks Blue. They should be able to infiltrate this point. There it is. No Smite's going to fall.
Again, they only need about 66% or 56% here, and they're still getting picked off. X6, this might just be the end right here.
Yeah, good sleep on the Recry, but it doesn't even matter.
Yeah. All right.
This is a fast series, Achilles.
All right, so I mean, basically what we're learning is that X6 is probably the second best team unless Runaway can come up with a victory over them and Kongdu maybe turn around from their first loss, build up the cohesion with their newfound roster. But right now it's seeming like X6 is second place to a Freak of Freaks Blue, but there's a massive gap between them as far as the skills concerned.
The Kongdu Kongdu Uncia match against X6 is going to be interesting as well, because it was a little bit more competitive between them and a Freak of Freaks Blue than this honestly is feeling like after game number 2.
I mean, that's what we have to judge them off of. It was a 3-1 loss. Yeah. They did put up a bit of a fight against X6, but ultimately they didn't find the win on the day. Kongdu Uncia, with their new roster, certainly could bounce back from that and, maybe find themselves in that second place spot, moving on into the round of 8. But for now, a Freak of Freaks, very clear-cut the #1 team in this group.
Certainly,
unless we see a massive turnaround reverse sweep from X6 after the break. That's the only thing that'll change my mind right now.
That is most certainly the dream, but look, honestly, I mean, I feel like we've already had X6's historically most comfortable maps. Like, it's not like they're looking for 2 CP in order to try and get back into this series, It's not where they're the most comfortable. It's real dangerous. But, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go to a short break. When we get back, we'll see whether a Freak of Freaks Blue are going to close it out 3-0.
봄꽃책에서 듣다. 있는 그대로 맑고 깨끗하게 피어나라고 겨울을 이겨낸 봄꽃이 내게 말했다. 맑고 깨끗한 칠성사이다.
노력은 선수를 만들고 코어 i7 프로세서는 멈추지 않는 파워를 드립니다.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Apex Overwatch Season 3. And if you blinked, you may have missed our first 2 matches because Afrika Freaks Blue came out swinging and X6 did not have any answers.
I mean, those were some of the fastest maps you've seen this season, if not the fastest. Oasis, a 2-0 victory for them. Garden, University, very swiftly picked up for Afrika. Getting a full hold there on Hollywood and then only needing to take it to about 56% to get the victory, which they did. Now moves over to two-point capture, which is a completely different beast by comparison to the hybrid maps, and even somewhat different to the King of the Hill.
It's different to everything.
This is still looking extremely one-sided in the favor of Afrika Freaks Blue, and honestly might just be a 3-0. So for those of you spamming Rogue waiting room in the chat, you might not have to wait too much longer.
That is true. Although, this is certainly not what it is, because I am interested to see how this is going to be closed out by Afrika Freaks Blue, or whether we are going to get that glorious reverse sweep, because that would be one hell of a feat if X6 can do it. But we
really
saw their
would.
faces, man. I mean, they're looking a little bit crushed at the moment, and you can see the confidence emanating out of Afrika Freaks Blue when we were looking at them. But look at this. There's just not a lot of smiling faces on the side of X6.
I mean, I think you could be upset over this, the losses so far here for the side of X6.
There was a smile. Don't worry, it's fine. X6, there's a smile.
I think that to be completely crushed and, be that upset over a loss to Afrika Freaks Blue would be ill-advised for X6. Afrika Freaks is a veteran team, as you said, a long-standing roster for the most part with the new additions
season
coming
1,
in.
But definitely been around the traps.
You don't want to feel too bad about it. You lose with the 3-0, you don't get a single cap on Temple of Anubis, then I think you start to feel pretty damn bad.
Well, that is going to be our first map of, our 2CP of choice for set number 3. Possibly our final map of the series. Temple of Anubis has been a map that can stymie even the best of us, Achilles.
That's very true. You never know what's going to happen with these ones. The two-point capture has really been where we're seeing a lot of those really weird compositions coming out. Talked about the quad DPS earlier from Rhinos Gaming Wings, taking that on attack with Mango, their Ana player, flexing onto Tracer. They ran it with a Sombra, with just a Winston and a Zenyatta as heals. So it was very intriguing. And then going over onto the defense, Mango just sitting on that Torbjorn the entire time. It was really interesting stuff to see on two-point capture. So hopefully they'll deliver on that here as we move on to Temple of Anubis.
I get it.
All right, thank goodness that we finally got it again.
Yeah, felt bad not getting it.
Oh, I was completely all awry, honestly, as we have a look at glorious Temple of Anubis.
So this was the selection for X6. They lost on Nimbani for their second map versus Kongdu and Sia, the only map that they dropped during that series. They did choose Temple of Anubis. It was a 1-1. Nobody was able to cap the second point, but all that they needed to do was hit 49% there on point B, which they were able to do. So X6 do come onto this one with a winning record for the season so far. And this is the thing that I love so much about Temple of Anubis, is it does open up for these Widowmakers. Seems like Donghyun's not going to stick with it, however, which saddens me.
Yep.
But it's a possibility, and it's becoming very much more prevalent moving forward into the meta.
And does he go back to the Tracer here as well as he hops into the front door?
Nope.
Oh, it's actually going to be the 2-2-2 coming out from Freaks Blue on defense. Which I don't mind, but no real mix-ups here on the side of X6 either. There's Godsby. Are we actually going to see his Widowmaker? Because,
Seems like it.
Our heart's been played with already. This is one of his favorite characters.
I mean, running Widowmaker into Arhan's Genji, always a bit of a risky move here. They now see that it's available, so he gets that first shot off and onto Donghyun. He'll get top back up, however, so he'll be safe. Expect Godspeed to just move up to that high ground.
Yeah, when he thinks that it's safe, when the rest of his team has made their way in. It's a cute little boot. They're trying to keep Timeboy out of here, but he's losing a lot of health.
They want a scouting report. They want to make sure that he's safe to get up here. Now that they spot the majority of the composition from the side of Afrika, he'll actually push forward a little bit, but Arhan's already on that Widowmaker duty.
Yeah, the Reflect is now on cooldown as well, so he is able to be knocked out.
Yeah, but he had the poison trap, dashed right over it.
Oh,
Godspeed comes up with a kill.
Nicely done, yeah. up here. Now it's the battle with Recry, who is going to be taken out, but it's Yoyobin who's going to be the one to do it. There's Timeboy, 5 health now as well, still doing battle. Does get some heals, and he survives somehow. X6 trying to get onto this point. Nicely done. Scotsby, fish in a barrel here available for him.
Yeah, pretty much nobody really able to answer him. And you can see already Freakin' Freaks are just getting prepped for the second set as Recry swaps over onto that Sombra. Not going to be any last second contention here on point A. So already a cap coming through, just under 7 minutes on the clock for X6.
It's a much better look for these guys.
Yeah, it's be a very long hold for Freakin' Freaks Blue. We have seen this in the past on this map especially, where those clocks do get drained all the way out. But Recry going to be trying to build up for those EMPs as quickly as he possibly can.
Yeah, we've seen the Sombra on defense, especially on this second point. Temple of Anubis just worked really, really well. As the Pulse Bomb, not going to find anyone. Timeboy just fishing for something as we go through the catacombs to the left here, trying to get this flank. As there's the Nano out already on top of this Winston. Mano utilizing it, takes down Bibi. Timeboy's going to fall as well. Afrika coming back to life here on the second point defense. Everyone's falling down.
I mean, yeah, they just go ahead, sweep right through them, really just invest that one ultimate with the Nano boost. Mano not having to use that Primal Rage. X6 still, though.
Plenty of opportunities.
Yeah,
right?
they have so much. So the thing that'll be concerning is if X6 builds up their ultimates, they have multiple ready to go, they dump everything into a bush and then gain nothing on the point. That's when you have to really start being concerned and expect that they might just actually lose out on the entire map.
Huh. Well, Recry, you can see, he's utilizing that snap, gets himself all the way back home.
They're doing the same exact wraparound they did before.
Hey, if it doesn't work once, just do the same thing again. Try again, isn't that the thing? As there's the EMP, Recry just immediately dies though, as Manu's able to take down Bibi once again. The sleep comes in, but immediately woken back up is Troyovan, who once again has to just run for the hills.
And while these are, you know, I guess you could kind of consider these eco pushes coming out from the side of X6, not investing any ultimates. Timeboy recently swapping onto the Roadhog means that he has to build his up for a considerable amount of time, as well as Godsby, who, you know, went from the Widowmaker onto the Soldier. While they are building up for those ultimates, Freakin' Freaks don't have to invest much to get a full stop on that. Just going to be the EMP from Recry. Everybody else ultimate ready to go. And again, Sombra, they'll have this up after a couple more flank opportunities with that translocator.
Don't tell me they're doing it again. All right.
Yep.
Well, third time's the charm, says X6. So you can see if Freakin' Freak's more than comfortable here as the Nano comes in. Ahan does have his ultimate available like we mentioned before. Hasn't thrown out the Dragon Blade just yet, but it's going to be the Winston that's all charged up, and Mano's able to take down 2 already. Just chasing everyone down.
Ahan.
He's doing well, and he's surviving as well.
14 HP. Still stays alive.
Oh,
there we go. Yeah, really nice. Gonna get that stagger onto Gilly. So invest a little bit more this time. But Recry has another EMP ready to go, and Lucid is building up these nano boosts so quickly.
Yeah, this guy's aim is really, really strong. We know that the Freakin' Freaks Blue were pretty happy that they were able to pick this guy up.
So this is it. This is the big moment here for X6, because they have 6 ultimates ready to go. There's 5 on the side, or Donghyun, you know, coming back into the suit. There we go. 5 on the side of Freakin' Freaks Blue. Lucid will have that nano boost very soon. If X6 dump everything, they need to get something on the point.
Well, they have jumped onto the point here as the Transcendence comes out from X6. Recry will have that EMP, but he's biding his time, waiting for that self-destruct that takes down Donghyun. But there's the EMP. The answering kill comes down with the double coming out from this self-destruct if you include the mech. Oh, really nicely played. Timeboy does get one back on this Roadhog, who has the whole hog available and has sat on the point for quite some time.
Yeah, but they're not even going to get a pick from this one. No Smite now coming in by himself. He'll die. So 2 of the tanks going to be a bit staggered. All of them actually now, as Yobin does get picked off right off the backside of this. Looking for a little bit more, but it's a bit too dangerous, so he will go ahead and back out. So not the full 6 ultimates invested from the side of X6 actually do trade up quite heavily as far as the Freakin' Freaks on their usage. But still, no ticks on that meter, and there's 3 minutes left to go, so already more than half of their time bank has been drained.
Yeah, and it was looking real good. 7 minutes with that initial take being so strong, but the hold from a Freakin' Freaks is just looking so powerful. As Ahan, once again with a Dragon Blade that seems to be always available. X6 get themselves down here, but what is going to be the answer here? As there's at least the sound barrier coming out from X6. Can they keep themselves on this point as Ahan throws out the Dragon Blade once again? Donghyun's going to take down Gilly there as well. Zahan's just dashing around this fight. He's just looking impossible to stop for the Afrika Freaks Blue, and X6 are just melting. They just don't seem to have an answer, nor do they have any other play in their book apart from just head through the catacombs on the left.
Yeah, and just like that, they're going to go ahead and pop the mech, so Hyobin's in a really bad spot because now he has to either run back to the spawn, swap off, swap back onto the D.Va, or he has to try to poke out as the baby D.Va. So you see he's going to have to go all the way back. So any ultimate charge that he had built up will be lost as he swaps to Reinhardt and then back on. So that just costs them so much more for the side of X6. Continue to struggle. Sound barrier getting ready to be there from IDK. He's about 80% on that build. And Arhan, we know how swiftly he gets the Dragon Blade up. So him sitting at 35% just about is not going to be too concerning here for Afrika Freaks.
All right, round 5. You can see Recray gets a brilliant EMP into the backside. They can't even jump onto the point just yet as Mano, he's been boosted. And the Monkey is just electrifying everyone. They just don't wait for anyone on X6 to jump onto that point and just tear them up in the catacombs themselves.
Something about the definition of insanity here, Atlas. They just keep running it over and over again, same angle of approach, not changing up the composition, just losing out on ultimates every time they push. They get a couple away from Afrika Freaks, but they've already proven that they don't really need them in order to hold this point. And they have already drained themselves down in under a minute. This has been a 6-minute hold from the side of Afrika Freaks without letting them get, so much as a percentage on the board.
Absolutely no success gained here from X6, who once again, off to the side, and Arhan, he's got the sound barrier, he's got the Dragon Blade, and he's ripping apart X6 Gaming. They can't even make it into the catacombs yet, as Timeboy's going to fall as well. Arhan just utilizing that ultimate to full effect. And I have a feeling that they're not going to be able to make that exact push another time. The 7th time is going to be difficult after a team wipe and only 20 seconds to go.
Yeah, pretty much stick a fork in X6 because they're looking pretty done.
Yeah.
Afrika Freaks continue holding. Mono, it's Primal Rage. Recry will have another EMP. There'll be another nano boost ready to go. So X6 need to play out of their minds if they are going to find a cap here.
They do at least have some tools to use.
It hasn't really worked for them in the past.
Yeah, Recry looking for this flanking play as he's at 95%. There it is, the EMP available now as at least Godspeed does get the kill onto Arhan. That is very, very important actually, as he was still building that Dragon Blade, and that's 2 kills now coming down for X6. They've made it onto the point here in overtime, but there's the EMP. Where is the answering kills, though, from Afrika Freaks? Because it looks like Recry doesn't have too many options. Lots of damage here off to the side, but Timeboy has taken out the front line.
Hyobin's gone down, and that's going to be the Gilly actually having the desperation use that sound barrier. Have about 1 tick so far, but they need so much more on the side of X6.
Yeah, Donghyun looking to go down in that Baby D.Va form there as well, as Godspeed does clean him up after getting rid of that mech at the same time.
Let's get in here. It's going to be such a long run back, though, for the side of X6. Arhan falls. It's going to be a nice start, but Godspeed gets traded back here as Mono picks him up, drops down, gets that health packet just for a second. If they go off this point, that overtime meter is going to drop.
Yeah, we do have Recry back to the Sombra now as well. He tried out the Tracer just for a little moment, as now Timeboy is going to fall. Self-destruct comes in to buy some space. Afrika Freaks Blue, they've still got a lot of ultimates available. The Pulse Bomb did come out, and there's another self-destruct that is going to be able to take down the enemy D.Va as well.
But look at this. They're just sweeping right through them.
There
get pushed off the point. And that's going to be the hold there on B for Afrika Freaks. 6 minutes, 50 seconds. X6 trying time and time again. Takes him to the last push to even get a single tick on the meter. Not changing up their composition, showing just full-blown stubbornness in the face of the Afrika Freaks Blue. And they say, you know what? We don't give a damn. We know that we're going to beat you.
It's the story of this whole series, though. It's not necessarily being flexible in how you're playing out any of these maps. They've had one plan, and they've just been bullheaded straight into the one decision.
Yep. I mean, the only thing that they were really able to force, other than a couple ultimates on those bushes from Afrika Freaks, was Arhan swapping the Tracer right at the end. That's all that happened. That's the only thing that they were able to force Afrika Freaks to do. Everything else was pretty much the same. I mean, didn't quite see it. It was off screen, but right at the start of that push, Bebe had to use the Transcendence, and he wasn't even on the point, so they didn't even maximize that usage. He had to use it to keep himself alive at the start of the fight.
Yeah, and it was like, and if you look at the positioning as well out of Afrika Freaks Blue, I mean, after the 5th push down that left-hand flank in the catacombs, Afrika Freaks Blue were just sitting in there instead of even on the point at all, because they knew exactly what X6 were going to do.
So right here, from the side of X6. They're going to be looking to, go ahead, boost up these shots from Godspeed. This is pretty much their big hope of getting a full hold on point A, is if Godspeed can pop off on the Widowmaker. We saw him get a couple crucial shots on the attack that helped them open up the point, take that, and get such a time bank, and then they weren't able to do anything with it. But if Godspeed can be an effective Widowmaker at the start of this game, that is going to be their big hope in holding this to finding a map victory and extending the series to map 4.
Yeah.
If Godspeed gets taken out early, well, hope your last rites are ready.
Well, that's exactly right, because X6, they need to try and hold this as best they can. If Freakin' Freaks Blue can make it through a capture on the second point.
They see the Widowmaker yet again here. Knows the positioning, so he's going to be wrapping around the sidelines. So it's going to be a nice start. Yeah, looking for the Lucio as well. Gets a body shot, won't find much more other than that. And the onus is really going to be on Arhan here to get this flank.
Yeah, looking to try and climb himself up where he can.
He's just trying to play around with him as best as possible.
Yeah, waiting for that deflection kill if he can get it, but not going to fall for it is Godspeed. He misses a couple of shots there, but Rekrai's going to fall down. Timeboy trying to prove that he's the better tracer and does so in that particular fight.
Can they hold this the whole time is the big question. Right now, Freakin' Freaks are struggling to get themselves pushed forward. They wrap around this left-hand flank, trying to make it up the stairs. They haven't really built up much in the way of their ultimates. Arhan trying to poke out from the side. Yeah, there's a big Winston blocking his way.
Yeah, Nosmai making sure that he can't make this little flanking maneuver. He dashes himself over to the side, has now found Godspeed on this Widow. Zahan has a decent spot. That is going to be a couple of kills coming out now already. Nice shot comes out from Godspeed. Actually gets the poison mine onto Mano.
That's the opening.
Yep, everyone's just falling down. Godspeed down to 1 health and is going to get Arhan to death.
They finally got him. It took Godspeed dropping down onto the point itself to get taken out. So a decent amount of time bought here for the side of X6, but there's still going to be such a massive time bank here for Freakin' Freaks as they continue to push in. Some swaps coming through from X6 means that they're going to have some ultimate meters restarting. Bebe coming in on the Sombra, Godspeed swapping over onto the Genji.
As it turns out, 30 seconds less available to Freakin' Freaks Blue. Now for their push onto this second point, they only need to get the first tick in order to get this 3-0 victory and solidify themselves as looking like easily the strongest team in this group as Rekrai has already picked up a kill. Yeah, the Transcendence comes down as well from a Freakin' Freaks Blue. They've still got ultimates to go at the same time as Arhan throws out the Dragon Blade. They really want to put a cork in this series immediately. And that is going to be the Sombra falling surely very, very quickly as X6 just melt.
He dashes his way back out there, but now the cap started to come through here for the side of Freakin' Freaks. They need to get on the point. It's a couple more seconds.
So close. As there's a sound barrier just to solidify their victory. X6 Gaming, Hyobin, I mean, it's a desperation self-destruct, but it's looking like this tick should be coming in any moment. Gilly's dancing around, trying to skate around these walls. Decent EMP there from BB. As another self-destruct comes in, Donghyun's going to be able to lock down the kill onto Gilly. And X6, they're holding on, but how long can they do this for?
It's all down to the D.Va.
5 minutes, remember, Achilleos.
Yeah, the D.Va goes off the point. They jump back in here with the Winston, but No Smite immediately goes down. They're just trying to buy as much time as they possibly can. Godspeed dashing, and now Gilly riding the walls up towards the top of the map, trying to buy as much time as they possibly can, because it's only going to take a second more.
There
and that's
it
going to be
is.
it coming through. 4 minutes, 51 seconds left on the clock. A Freakin' Freaks Blue pick up probably the most concise victory we've seen so far in Season 3. Take down X6, and they just put him in the ground.
Yeah, and I kind of wish that we weren't our own stats guys, Kilios, because I'd like to know what the fastest best of 5 series is in Apex thus far, because
Check that out.
Certainly challenge that.
Yeah, that's going to be damn close. I mean, we're, hour 5 minutes in, some time to get ready, before the game starts. You get the overview of all the groups and whatnot. So that was a sub 1 hour best of 5. Just won out by a Freakin' Freaks.
Just incredibly dominant performance. Really solidifying them as the top team in Group B. We mentioned it before, but also solidifying them as the team to watch for compositions as well. I mean, the comps here that we saw from them are certainly established worldwide, but this is top of the meta from these guys. They know exactly what they need to do. They've been doing their research and obviously practicing super hard, because it's looking like second nature to jump onto these triple DPS, the interesting Orisa comp that we saw on Hollywood there as well. I'm really looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring as we see what Freak of Freaks Blue do further into Apex Season 3.
Well, you know, they said that they were on a diet. They were trying to lose weight to get their victories in. Seems like that diet's paying off, Atlas.
Oh, yeah.
They're slimming down, and they're just really capitalizing on their new roster.
That's why they won so quickly, because they need to go to the gym, Achilles. This is what it is. It's like, no, we can't be sitting down in our chairs. We've got weightlifting to do.
Yeah, gonna be at the gym by 8:30.
Yeah, and I mean, what they did was they lifted X6, and now they're going to go and lift some heavy things straight afterwards.
X6 definitely isn't heavy. I mean, A, they're all very skinny and tiny.
Yes,
B,
that's true.
they just did nothing in that entire series.
Yes.
So X6, I mean, the biggest thing that we have to take away from that is the flexibility is not shown whatsoever from these guys. Just didn't want to swap off the likes of the 222, the triple tank coming through. And they get punished so very heavily for it. So a lot of work to be done by these guys before their next set.
Yeah, and I mean, so many questions for X6 to see what they can do against, you know, Runaway, who's also looking a little bit worse for wear in this group, but...
Take a look at the play of the game. It's Arhan.
Of course it is.
On the Genji. So, here we go. Dragon Blade out. Catacombs, side lanes, everybody stacked up for him. He can just slice and dice his way through all of this. And while, yeah, the kill feed might not be filled with Arhan, but so much of that damage.
Oh, yeah. It was a blender. It was honestly a blender in the Catacombs. Let us reiterate that was round 5. So Arhan knew exactly where X6 were going to be because they only had one mode of attack on that last point.
Yeah, they just rush the same thing every time. X6 does have a decent bit of a break before they go up against Runaway, which honestly, not sure how